Hey guys, welcome back into the State Champs studio for another edition of State Champs Hangtime. We want to start the show off with sending our thoughts and prayers to Michigan State during this difficult time.
And we're going to jump right into basketball because, as all you Hoopers know, that's the one thing this game that can take your mind off a terrible tragedy like that.
All right, let's jump right into our first one. Like you said, Arbor Prep at Edison. Edison got the win in this one. It was 51-35. We saw two dynamic duos battle it out. Lexi, what made this one such a fun one?
You said it, the dynamic duo. It was two dynamic duos dueling it out. I don't know if that's too much alliteration, but we've talked about the Utomi twins a lot for Arbor Prep. Stephanie and Stacy, they've been consistently great, but they weren't enough for Devin Hagman and Bailey Pickens in Detroit Edison. The Detroit Edison got in Arbor Prep's head early with their full court press and points off turnovers. Guard Devin Hagman continues to make her case as a runner for Michigan's Miss Basketball. However, the puzzle piece that makes this entire team click together is guard-forward combo Bailey Pickens. She's always been known as her defensive prowess on the ball, but this year she's really becoming an offensive threat alongside Devin.
Next up, Goodrich headed to Flushing. This one, Goodrich came out on top, getting the win 42-22, keeping those conference title dreams alive.
They are, and Goodrich is a team that has just grown and grown since the start of this season. They've gotten better with every game that they've played, and they play team basketball. They share the ball really well, turning down good shots for great shots. But what makes Goodrich so hard to guard for their opponents is that every player is a threat on this team. It could be anyone from senior Riley Place to freshman Kayla Hairston. Really anyone in between stepping up big and pitching in points on any given night. When Goodrich is disciplined and locked in on defense, they can compete with the best teams in the state, like Lake Fenton. They only lost by 6 a few games ago, and we're going to see them face up to see who wins that conference title. However, Goodrich only has a shot if they can play all 4 quarters.
We're going to take a quick timeout and check in with our third member of the team, Carol Lyles, who spoke with Coach Brad Wilson of Rockford in this week's B-Cam's Chalk Talk.
I know it's a long season, right? Are you guys, still continuing to bond this season? Is there team dinners? Are there trips? I mean, what do you guys do to really just stay connected throughout the season?
All of the above. So we do team dinners every Thursday night. I've got a group of parents that are just unbelievable that kind of take turns in hosting, our kids, and so that gives them a chance to be together and share, a meal together. Just a couple weeks. Well, on Saturday we went to a Calvin basketball game against Trine to see one of our old players, Sammy DeKuyper, who graduated last year, who's playing for Calvin. The weekend before that, I believe it was, one of the parents volunteers for a program called Make a Wish. It's through essentially they're making wigs for kids that sadly have lost their hair through their cancer treatments. And so Magic Wig Foundation, I believe is what it was called. But anyways, our girls went in and made wigs for the day.
That is awesome.
But just things like that. I think basketball is a really good avenue to give them opportunities to do things that are bigger than ourselves, and so really throughout the season we try to cater to that and really reinforce culture and doing things for our community as much as we can.
To catch that whole interview, just head over to our State Champs YouTube page. All you need to do is search State Champs Net. Let's check in now with Big Lexi's Big Ten. A lot of movement this week. Even that number 1 spot being taken over by Detroit Renaissance. Why did they deserve to be number 1?
I had to start getting into the nitty-gritty with this. I had to go tit for tat. It's getting at the end of the season, so we had to get into it. And Grand Rapids West Catholic has held that number 1 spot for weeks and weeks now. And I had to go in and realize that there are 2 teams that Grand Rapids West Catholic and Detroit Renaissance both played. That's Muskegon and East Grand Rapids. More importantly, Renaissance beat East Grand Rapids by 19 points, where West Catholic only got the win by a slim 8-point margin. That's why I just had to decide. Renaissance deserved the number 1 spot in Big Lexi's Big Ten.
So Grand Rapids West Catholic is at that number 2 spot, but there's some movement in 3, 4, and 5. Tell us about that.
There is, and I've loved West Bloomfield from the beginning of the season. They were a nationally ranked team. I always thought, since we seen them at the Breslin Center last year, that they would be back this year. I had to come to terms with that and just decide, okay, you know what? West Bloomfield deserves to be at the number 3 spot. I believe West Bloomfield is one of the more battle-tested teams in the state, with wins over Detroit Edison, who's in the Big Ten, and the overtime 86-83 dub over Kenwood Chicago. Their only other loss came out of state.
Rockford was at your number 2 spot. They dropped to number 4. Why is that?
Rockford's only loss of this season was to Grand Rapids West Catholic. However, their win against East Kentwood, I honestly thought they should have closed it out sooner. They let East Kentwood get within 2 points in the third quarter, and that is just not acceptable at this point in the year. Rockford has to be clicking on all 4 cylinders for all 4 quarters to stay one of the best teams in my Big Ten.
Lake Fenton, they're cruising through their season undefeated. They're sitting at number 5.
And 6 through 10, the competition's too close. 6 through 10 stayed the same. 6 is Carmen Ainsworth, 7 Hazlitt, 8 Chelsea, 9 Detroit Edison, and 10 Farmington Hills Mercy. We also see in the 11 through 20 spots on our Super 20 on the State Champs Women's website some new teams making it into the rankings, so make sure to check those out, see if your team made it.
That's all the time we've got for this week, but make sure you guys come back next week for another episode of State Champs Hangtime.
State Champs Hangtime is presented by Lawrence Technological University. Visit ltuathletics.com and recruit yourself. Hangtime is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud partner of the MHSAA. The Detroit Athletic Club Foundation's Athlete of the Year Awards. Applications are being accepted now until March 6, 2023 for the male and female high school athletes of the year. Check out previous winners and download the application today at dacathleteoftheyear.com. And the Basketball Coaches Association of Michigan. Find out more at bcam.org.